Yeah, my name is Ron Lawrence. Ron Amin Ra. Ron Amin Ra Lawrence. Amin Ra. Unseen Force of the Rising Sun. Whichever, it's me, Ron Lawrence. I'm a record producer. Drum tracks in hip hop usually have that but Money, Power, Respect had that that double hat sound. I totally forgot about the track after a while because I was doing so many different things. I'd say about maybe a month or two later, I get a call from Tony Maserati. The title of the song at the time was, I think, may have been called Dexter Wanzel because the song came from a song called A New Beginning. That's what the song was sampled from. And I remember him calling me and saying, hey, I'm mixing this Dexter Wanzel track, but I can't mix the song because the song isn't finished. It's just a skeleton of a piece of a sample. So I hop in my car, fly to the city, get there, and as I walk into Daddy's house, and I'm hearing the track for the first time with the vocals, you know what I'm hearing, DMX, I'm like, oh shit, it's Lil' Kim on the chorus, so I get excited. I get with the drums. I knock that out with the MP. And then I go to the 1080 and I add the bass on and the 808s and all that stuff. And it just took the whole song to a whole nother level. And just listening to Money, Power, Respect, you hear the intro coming in, the bam, 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 bam. And you have Kim coming in, if you treat them right, Money, Power, Respect. And I was just like, yo, this right here, this is a hit. Puff wasn't too sure of the chorus at first. He just let it ride. It was something different, but sometimes it's always good to experiment and try different things. And you know, that's like that line from Scarface. First you get the money, then you get the pussy. Oh, is it first you get the money, then you get the power? I can't remember. It was jacked up because David Bowie took 100% of the publishing. We didn't see no publishing off of that record. The good thing about it was, because it was a big record, it was good on the resume. See, Puff when I would play him songs, and he would pick up on what he liked. So he would go through stuff, like I would play him like 5, 6 songs, and he would listen to like maybe a couple of seconds of it. He would do like next, and that was it. Been Around the World track was on that particular DAC that I played him, and then he passed on it. It's not that he didn't like it, he overlooked it. I just said, well, you know what? Let me just go to the artist. And then I started going to Mase. You know, he was with his manager and they both heard the song and was just like, yo, we want this. Like, we really want this joint. Like, Mase already had a vision for it and knew what he could do with it. You know, and I saw the look on his face, like, he really wants this track. And at the time, Mase was like, he was the hottest dude out. And I was like, yo, I gotta get on this dude's album. There's just no way. So when he chose the track and he delivered the vocals on it, you know, and then Big heard it, and Big was like, yo, let me get on the hook. And then when Puff heard it, Puff was just like, okay. And then Puff saw the vision. And then Puff was like, all right, yo, let me get that second verse. And then it ended up on the No Way Out album. I was like a big James Bond fan growing up as a kid. And Live and Let Die was one of my favorite movies, you know, and I loved the soundtrack. And there was a song on there and it had these hot guitars. And I just caught a piece of it, you know? And I just started hitting the bling, 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 and it just sounded dope. And I added these hot ass drums to them, and I put a bass to it, and then he had Stevie add the guitars on top of it. Do you really wanna make me cry? And that was actually the very first record that I could remember Mase recording, like doing vocals to for his album. And I remember Puff not liking that song at all. Like he wasn't feeling it. And I think because of the fact that like how he attacked the record and what he was saying wasn't really on that Harlem World vibe of where the album was supposed to go. What you know about going out, head west, red legs, TVs, all up in the headrest. What he's talking about in that song and what he's talking about in the rest of the album, it doesn't mesh, you know? Because Mase liked the record so much, Puff was like, all right, we still gonna rock it. And that's how that song came about. Yeah, so that particular sample is called Chic Share, and it's live. At the beginning, you can hear like the cheering with the people going at the beginning. You hear the guitar, and you hear like the crowd. So what I had to do is I had to take pieces of the guitar and piece it together. Now, when you hear the song, they're saying chic, chic every like couple of beats, like dun 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 chic, chic, dun 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 chic. So I had to delete the chics out and I had to piece it together, you know? So while I was doing that, I created the drums. So you had the guitar, and you had the drums on top of it, a keyboard bass, and then you have a filter at the bottom. It rounded it off and it gave it more meat. It gave it body. If I needed to take the guitars out of the sample and have the bass with the drums rock, I could do that, you know? And if I wanted to take the drums out and just let the bass rock, I could do it. And that was one of the things that we did at Bad Boy. We took samples and we put a structure and body to them so we could dissect them when we needed to. That's ants in my pants. I got ants in my pants and I need to dance, yeah.
Got ants in my pants and I need to dance. Come on.
I didn't know where that was going. That was just one of my favorite samples, you know. The dun-dun, you know, that was a sound by itself. And then you had some drums, and then you had the guitars. Those are all broken up into pieces as well. Brian McKnight was looking for a single, and he came into the studio, and I remember him choosing it. That was very successful for Brian because it set the precedent for that album to become, you know, very, very big. D-Dot and I, you know, we grew up in that kind of music. I remember growing up in my neighborhood just listening to that song. You know, it was a jazz disco record. You know, and it was very laid back, and I remember they used to even play that on the soap operas when he brought it to the house. And he was just like, yo, and he pulled it out of the crate. And I was like, yo, we gotta do that. So when we went to Trinidad, that was one of the first joints that we had worked on. Like if you listen to Hypnotize, there's like a pattern hi-hat in there. You could probably hear a signature drum sound, and maybe like Love Like This all night long. A bass had to be added onto that, and that was a Juno bass. Yeah, so that bass gave it body, you know, and made it stand out. When the song was being tracked and the intro came on, where he gets that bling, 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 bling. I could just envision what it would be like in a club. And I was just saying to myself, like, yo, this is crazy. Like, when the world has this, they're gonna lose their mind. I mean, this record is gonna be phenomenal. Like 20-something years later, I didn't know that it would be as big as it is today, that I would still be seeing the royalty checks that I'm seeing now, you know, from 1997 to 2018. It's just been good to me, so. We were doing so much at the time that when I did certain tracks, if I didn't finish them, I would just put them to the side and get back to it a little later. And that was one of the ones that I said, well, you know, when I get to it, I'll get to it. When Jay heard it, it was just in a raw form. It was really nothing to it. It was just bare. By Jay putting his lyrics on that track, it really gave me a vision on where I knew that I could take it, because he painted that picture about living in Marcy Projects. He gave it that whole sinister feel.
I'm from where the hammers rung, news cameras never come. You and your man's hung in every verse in your.
Most people want to have a finished track so they can rhyme too. It's very challenging, and it's a lot of fun if you can have a rapper do a song on top of a track that's not finished, because it gives you more of an insight on where you think you could take it. And that's what I liked about Where I'm From, because after he put the vocals on that record, it just gave me so much insight on what I should do with it, and it worked. It really worked, yeah. I think it's important that you do what you feel, do what you like, because you're gonna always get, 4 or 5 other people who are going to tell you that's not hot, or you should change that, or you should change this. But I think it's important that you should always go with your gut feeling no matter what you do, and be true to your craft and love what you do.